Ms. Valeria, can you hear us okay? Can you hear us okay, Ms. Valeria?
Yes, I can. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Thank you. Just wanted to make sure. Ms. Valeria, our legal counsel gave us a legal opinion that Commissioner Will Jones does not have to be sworn in because of him being a city commissioner and a commission liaison to this board. He is a non-voting member of the board. So I've been advised that I don't have to swear him in. However, Ms. Thomas gave us a legal opinion that the current citizen board members would need to be sworn in. So if you don't mind, I would ask that you raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully perform the duties of my appointed office and will support and honor to the best of my ability all applicable laws of the state of Florida, Putnam County, the city of Palatka, as well as the beliefs, vision, mission, policies, procedures, code of ethics, and code of conduct of the city of Palatka Tree Committee. I hereby, through this oath, affirm that I will perform the duties of this public trust in a fair, equitable, and ethical manner befitting the dignities and responsibilities of the office. Thank you guys sincerely on behalf of the city of Palatka for being a part of the tree committee.
Wow. You're now official.
Next item is to call the roll call, if I may. Keith Valentine. Earl Wallace. Carolyn Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Liaison Will Jones.
Present.
And noted for the record that Julio Perez is not present. Also noted for the record that Roger Sandos has not been responsive to any communications on behalf of the city at this time. Next item. I'm sorry. Julio was appointed by the commission at the commission's December 9th board meeting. Prior to Julio, it was the prior IFAS agent. Correct, the UF IFAS extension. And at this time, the current Putnam Alachua County Forester has not sent in an application, but I expect him to. Previously, Conrad Wysocki, the old forester, was on this committee. Next item on the agenda is the selection or nomination of a chair and vice chair. If the former chair would allow.
Yes. I think Keith would be a good chair, and I think
Ms. Krantz, if the tree committee members would turn on their microphones, I'd appreciate it.
sorry.
Thank you.
I think Keith would be a good chair, and I think Carolyn would be a good vice chair. Say what?
I would pass on that since I don't do email.
Oh,
Earl, that leaves you.
huh?
That leaves you.
We don't do those things.
We need to have a vice chair.
Yeah, but you're gonna be out a lot. And, you know, I really don't want to do it. Who else we got on the board?
Julio Perez is also on the board.
I think Julio would be a good vice chair.
I'll second it.
May I ask that you clarify your motion nomination of Julio Perez as vice chair pending his acceptance?
Yes.
May I ask if all are in favor of the motion to please say aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah. Motion passes unanimously, Mr. Chair. You lead the proceedings as you wish, sir.
Okay, Carol, you can leave on your mic if you want to. You don't have to turn it off each. So you just want me to go on down with the agenda then? Okay. Next on the agenda is public comment. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Are there any speakers here? None? Okay, we'll pass on that. Recommendation of Arbor Day proclamation to the City Commission. Does that mean we need to choose a Arbor Day for us, or is it already set aside with the city?
Arbor Day is currently, if I may, Mr. Chair, Arbor Day is currently set for January 21st in the state of Florida. That's the date that the college wishes for it to remain on. When we get to the next item, we'll speak a little bit more about the ceremony, if that's your pleasure.
What day of the week is that?
It's a Friday.
Yes, sir. It's a Friday. Mr. Chair, the proclamation that I've prepared is on the screen. Would you like for me to read it, or do you wish that the board just read it amongst themselves? Or does it, or the,
You can go ahead and read it if you would. I don't have my glasses
Yes,
on
sir.
today.
whereas Arbor Day is observed throughout the nation and the world in recognition of the many benefits of trees. And whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. And whereas the city of Palatka has proudly been recognized as Arbor Day Foundation Tree City USA for the past 30 years. And then the next is the normal clause. Now, therefore, I, Terrell L. Hill, Mayor of the City of Palatka, together with the members of the Palatka City Commission, do hereby proclaim January 21, 2022 as Arbor Day in the City of Palatka, and urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day by supporting efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. And further, I urge all cities to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. Mr. Chair, staff would like to know the pleasure of the committee if there's any modifications to be made, or if they find this acceptable to submit to the City Commission.
It's acceptable with me. Carol, Earl.
Yeah.
It's all acceptable. Okay. Arbor Day celebration at St. Johns River State College, January 21st. Is there any comment on that?
Mr. Valentine, if I may.
Yes.
I've kind of, just to give you an idea of what we're anticipating the committee to give us recommendations on, I've outlined 6 items. If I may just kind of read those off. Arbor Day falls on January 21, as we've spoken. I've received an email from St. Johns River State College inviting us to kind of co-sponsor their ceremony. They're asking if 10:30 a.m. would be an acceptable time for our committee for the
Good time
celebration.
me. Good.
Good.
Great. Moving along, the college has asked that the city purchase an East Palatka holly or a flowering dogwood for the planting ceremony. City staff attempted to locate a flowering dogwood from local nurseries and suppliers. Unfortunately, city staff's been unable to locate the flowering dogwood, but we were able to locate a East Palatka holly at Futch's Landscaping. Futch's Landscaping would need a 2-week notice prior to when the tree is needed. Futch's can obtain from a local nursery an 8-foot tall East Palatka holly, and it'll cost approximately $250. Staff is looking for a recommendation from this committee to purchase the tree.
I recommend that it go on through, buy it from Futch's. Second. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. It
Thank you.
passes, we'll buy it from Futch's.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Did you call the vote?
Pardon?
Did you call the vote, sir? I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
No, you got a second, but you got to vote now.
Oh,
All
Yeah,
right.
motion and he had a second. Now
I
you vote.
apologize. I thought Mr. Wallace nodded, so I didn't catch
I
that.
nodded.
Sorry.
I
But you
didn't catch it
vote
either.
still. And they
All
gotta
in
go. on the
favor?
record.
Mhm.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Marvelous.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving along, staff will ask the mayor to read, if he's available to read the proclamation. I'm not certain yet on his availability. But would a tree committee member like to be available in the event he's not to read the proclamation?
Carol, would you do that for us
I can do
at
that.
Arbor Day?
That's this
You did it last
proclamation.
time, didn't you?
I don't remember, but I'll
Yeah.
be willing to do that.
Okay, Carol will read the proclamation at the college. for Arbor
Wonderful.
Day.
Thank you. The next couple of items on here are really my questions to the committee is on how the committee would like the ceremony to proceed. Are there any, item 4 asks, are there any tree committee members who would like to speak at the ceremony? I don't know if you want to take these items by item, but kind of leads me into the next one. How would the ceremony would like to proceed? Do we want to invite the Garden Club of Palatka to speak? Do we want, pretty much, how would you like the ceremony to flow? What can I recommend to the college on your behalf?
Mayor Terrell Hill usually speaks as the mayor, so that would be a good, if someone would ask Terrell to do that, that would be great.
And we usually have the committee members there or asked to be there. And we usually invite somebody from the garden club.
Okay,
I think usually they're already invited, but we extended the invitation to them.
Earl, do you want to extend that invitation to them? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm Earl, a member of the garden club.
Do we need to specify a brief or
Say again,
do we need to specify a brief comment or?
for the garden club?
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna get with Palmer in the morning and say, Palmer, we need y'all to be there.
Yeah.
That's all the comments needed.
Carol will be this, do the speaking. Garden Club will be there.
Yeah, if, I'm sure Palmer will be there as the president.
Okay.
For the record, is that Palmer Kistner?
Yes,
Okay. May I ask that the college try to put him on their itinerary? Maybe something like Palatka Garden Club, speaker, President Palmer Kistner.
let me see Palmer in the morning
Okay,
and I'll
yeah.
get back to you tomorrow sometime.
Marvelous.
Hi, this is Julio Perez from UF. I'll also be there.
Oh, hi.
Sorry, I'm a little late.
Do we need to tell Julio, oh, are you the vice chair or is Julio? Do we need to tell Julio that he's vice chair? He should be prompt and he wouldn't be.
Julio, in your absence, you were called to be the vice chairman of the tree committee.
Oh, okay.
So would you accept that?
What exactly does that entail? I'm sorry.
You fill in for Keith when he's not here and
Right.
we're a lot more formal today than we have been in the past, so. You just need to be here if Keith's not gonna be here.
At any of our
And,
meetings? if
Run the
I'm-
meeting for him. It's no biggie and we've already got you elected, so. You know, be on
Okay.
time next time and you won't be elected.
Okay.
Are you okay with that, Julio?
I sure. How
just-
long's the term?
I guess the city gets somebody new about every year. Is that correct? Re-elections every year?
Yes, sir. That's typically how the cities handle their advisory boards.
But unless you totally screw up, you'll be on it next year too.
Okay.
Are we hesitant? Are we okay with it, Mr. Julio?
What are you trying to get him to turn it
No,
down?
I
He
just want
said
to make sure
yes.
he's for sure.
Well, I'm just a little concerned. I just because my, well, I guess because it's, well, I don't know. I'll be fine. Yes, it'll be fine.
Okay, well, if there's any concerns later, just let us know and we'll support you 100%.
Okay.
All righty. Just note that Mr. Perez has accepted vice chair. And we're glad to have you on board with us.
Thank you.
Anything else on the Arbor Day that we need to bring up?
Thank you. I mean.
Mr. Chair, if I may, my question, I know he joined late, but would be if Mr. Perez has any thing he would like to take place at the ceremony.
I typically can do some kind of demo, or I can do some educational opportunity.
How about when we put the tree in the ground, if you want to speak on that, usually the Palatka Daily News will be there and just talk about the importance of the tree and planting and maybe a little bit of history behind the East Palatka holly and something about the tree as it's going in the ground.
Yeah, I need to raise my hand from now, on, right?
Okay, I could do that.
Okay,
Yeah, normally Julio, the county agent or the forester, they kind of oversee the planting of the tree and make sure it's all, proper and give a little explanation of why we planted it the way we did.
Okay,
Mr. Chair, if I may, I'd be happy to reach back out to Mr. O'Neill, the forester, and see if he'd be willing to attend the ceremony. And maybe we could do something I can ask the college to do something maybe in that area on the itinerary program, maybe put Mr. O'Neill / Mr. Perez speaking regarding the history of the East Palatka holly, if you all find that acceptable.
that's great.
Yeah.
Will you be doing the agenda for that
Tip-
Arbor Day then?
Typically, the college prepares the agenda for the Arbor Day ceremony, but because we co-sponsor the ceremony with them, they look to us for what we want on it.
Okay,
So I'll submit it to the college. If no one from the college chooses to do the program this year, then I will do the program, but typically they do it.
okay. Yes, ma'am.
Is there any designation put in with the tree, a plaque or anything to say when and why it was planted?
None of our other trees were at the college, I don't believe.
No, I don't think so. Would that be anything to consider or not?
I don't know if we start that now, we'll have to start putting plaques for all of them.
That would be
Yeah.
the case, yeah.
Are you saying, speaking that little thing there?
She was
Are you saying
wondering,
put a plaque out there?
Yeah, for, on this East Palatka holly, saying when and why it was planted.
I don't think we ever have before.
No, I don't believe so.
And, it's out there and, I don't think any of them we put in the ground out there before are marked. And, if you want to, who you want it in honor of.
No, I don't mean in honor of somebody, but just so people would know how big this tree is and how many years.
mostly that stuff goes at the University of Florida or their garden centers, and they put up the plaques and stuff just to let people know what that tree is. One thing we need to keep in mind, if we do that, we have to start making it a regular thing, but I don't see why there's any reason, unless you want to, Carol, why we need to put a plaque or anything there.
Where are we gonna plant the tree, at the college or ravine?
It would be at the
At the
college.
College?
Yeah.
I think the last one we did was at the ravine by the
Mm,
amphitheater circle right there as you walk down,
That may have been the last time the tree committee, if I may answer this, that may have been the last time the tree committee participated. The tree committee hasn't met as a board formally in the last few years. The last minutes that I was able to find from the tree committee stated that the mayor was in favor of hosting future Arbor Day celebrations at the college because the year prior it had worked seamlessly. So that's kind of what the city's done every year since that time. We've had it at the college, and the college, as you can kind of tell, really plays a big hand in this because they have a tree committee as well that meets, and and kind of makes up the itinerary and things like that. So it's kind of taken a lot of the burden off of the city, and we should now share it with the college. But as for when last year in 2020, the tree was planted at the college.
Yeah, the college is fine with me because that's the last time I remember, so.
Yeah, I don't have a particular spot I'd rather it be. I just, don't want it dug up next year to do something else there,
Mr. Chair, if I may I put that on the record that if the college, doesn't wish to do it next year, that, of course, the city still wishes to have an Arbor Day celebration, and we can find an alternative location if the
Yeah.
college runs out of room for additional trees, perhaps, or
That's
something
fine.
to
The
that
college is a
effect.
good place, got plenty of room too. The Ravine Garden's got lots of trees and,
I'm not pushing Ravine.
yeah, that's okay.
College is good.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know whether we put them there, but we participated in, I have several of them at the college, yeah.
That'd be good.
If-
Then we'll do the college then.
If I may, I think the goals of this committee and St. John's River Tree Committee corresponds because they are a tree campus, so they have to do an Arbor Day event every year as well. So I think the two committees and working together with planting trees on their campus is working out very well. They want their campus to be more canopied, in other words.
That'll be great. Thanks, Julio.
You're welcome.
Okay, shall we move on to the next? If that's over with, let's go on to staff comments. The municipal code, I think you have something that you want to bring up about the code. Yes, ma'am.
I do. I'm Lisa Walsh. It's a pleasure to meet two of you that I haven't met before, Ms. Smith and Mr. Valentine. I'm the planning director here. And one of the things that I've noticed is in our municipal code, we are required to have a tree committee, but we don't give the tree committee anything to do as far as a list of duties in the code. And I'd like to discuss a little bit of that with you today.
Okay.
One of the first duties I'd like to suggest
Is
is,
your
of course,
microphone on?
yes, sir, it is.
Okay.
Is that any better?
Pull it closer to you.
Is that any better? Any better? Any better? It's all up my nose, Mr. Jones. Ms. Thomas, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. I'll try and speak louder. Is that better?
Mhm.
Okay. So one of the first things I'd like to discuss is, of course, your role in the Arbor Day celebration. Is that amenable to you as to continue on as one of those duties and put it officially in our zoning code?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
that's great.
I kind of figured it would be because it's kind of fun planning that, isn't it? And then the second thing is another duty that you could help with would be reviewing our municipal tree code. So tree protection, penalties, that sort of thing for violations of the code, replanting ratios, replacement tree ratios, protected trees versus unprotected trees, that sort of thing. Is that something that you all would be interested in as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well then I'll work on getting a revised code section for your review at the next meeting. When is the next meeting, Sunny? Please?
Ms. Walsh, there's nothing currently scheduled.
Okay. Then I would ask your indulgence to put it about 2 or 3 months out.
Okay.
Would that work?
That's better than 3 years.
What did you say, sir? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
It's better than 3 years.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, like I said, I'll work on that and maybe give you guys some ideas. If you've got ideas that you would like to share with me today or in the future, all ears.
Shall we plan on having this meeting like we used to do at 4 o'clock on Mondays, whenever that we do have it? You want to start out quarterly right now, or?
Do you
Earl?
see the need for us meeting that often or was you traditionally?
We used to meet once a month. But we can go quarterly if you want to. If there's something brought up, then a meeting can be called if something has to be done with us.
May I ask what you discussed at those monthly meetings?
They usually had
Tree
tree
review.
risk, problem trees in the city. They wanted us to go and evaluate them and then give the recommendations. We used to do a deal where we would acknowledge somebody's new landscaping and they would get a plaque, a new building that was brought up or put up in the city. They would be recognized for their landscaping. Sometimes we brought up about people coming in landscaping and putting the landscape in and never doing nothing with it. It got overgrown, died out. They just put it in because they had to put it in. We don't have any control over that, but we discussed things like that. But if they know that they're held accountable to maintain their landscaping, their trees, then they would do it.
That is in our code
Like,
currently.
for example, I think it's okay to bring up when Dollar General there on Reed Street came in, they had some nice, beautiful landscaping, and now it's just gone to pot. No, they're not taking care of it. None of the Dollar Generals in the county, once they get the permit and they put their trees in, it goes to pot. The trees are dead, landscaping's dead, everything's overgrown. So that's what we discussed, but we have no power over that.
It was cheaper to plant them and let them die than it was to maintain them.
Right.
And for so long, I don't think it was even in our code to maintain them back when. And, case in point, I always throw Walmart up because they're, to me, they're an eyesore. But Walmart, they planted trees in their parking lot and they let them all die.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the signage.
And they've gotten better in the past few years. There's actually some trees out there now,
Okay.
but, it was cheaper just to let it die.
We discussed also trees that were downtown with Jonathan, deciding, trying to figure out what trees to do with the downtown between the buildings, the old elm trees and what to replace.
And at one time, I don't know what happened to it, but somebody with the city was anticipating a walking tour of trees, and we had, you remember, well, how many it was? We had a slew of trees, but all through the town that you could take in a walking tour and see the different trees. And I know we had down behind the old Winn-Dixie store, we had a huge swamp oak chestnut and, huge leaves like that on it and all. And it was taken down a few years ago, but that was 1 in a million trees for this area. They're just not here, but somehow it got there and it probably had a 30-inch diameter on the trunk. Big tree.
Another thing that we did as a committee was when a homeowner would complain about a city tree because his leaves are on his property. And we would talk with that homeowner and explain why, that
Okay.
it wasn't worth taking down for that reason.
So tree education.
Tree education.
And people typically, they like trees until it interferes with something they want to do, and then they don't like trees anymore. And it wasn't all that formal, but they would make a recommendation to the tree committee to review their intentions to get rid of trees. And, I think when we passed our ordinance, we put it within 10 feet of a footprint of a building or construction. We have no control over. But anything outside of that and on city property, the city has some control over what you can destroy.
I was kind of educating the public to put the right tree in the right place.
Right. Understood that. Okay.
It's just a matter of what y'all need us to do, what y'all will let the tree committee, what you want us to do. I mean, there was the landscape code that was being redone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that was ever redone for the city.
I don't think it was
It
it?
was never finalized on that. So, I mean, that's something that y'all do. We're here to help with that on things that need to be done.
Well, and that's what I'm asking about when I'm talking about reviewing the code and looking at making
Right.
changes. I mean, that's,
It's somebody else has been redoing it for years, but it never did get finalized, I don't think. It never got, who was that, Earl, that we were talking to? He was going back and forth and it never was finalized.
The city planner.
And then you did something years ago to start that.
Yeah, but, you know, I'm the local tree hugger, you know, you hear, I catch hell all the time for doing that, but, you know, I don't want to just, and I gotta be diplomatic here. I don't want to meet every 3 years to justify being a tree committee so that the city of Palatka can be a tree city. I know to be a tree city, we got to have a tree committee,
mhm.
or unless they change that lately.
No, that's what you just did today. You made them a tree city again today. Officially.
But you understand what I mean?
Yes, sir, I do. And I would like to share with you that while I'm here, my goal is to have you guys active in what we do and meeting more than once every 3 years. Because we need you and your voice. We need you and your education activities in the community. And I think it's a good thing. Because we are experiencing more development, as I'm sure you already know.
Well, I think one important thing we all need to keep in mind is, I don't know how much you want us to do, but we sure do need to keep the code, what people put in, what they take out. These lands, if we're going to be an easy city, these engineers, these construction people that come in said, that's no deal. We can do whatever we want to do. They're not hard. We can do, but if you hold the standard of what they should be doing, then they've got accountability for what they're putting in.
It's like on one of the planning board meetings when they were trying to bring in all of the fish games, whatever you want to call them, the Monopoly games. There's all sorts of. I asked one of the guys from North Carolina, why are so many people trying to come into Palatka with those games? And I think he gave me an honest answer before he meant to. He said, word is out that Palatka's easy. I mean, that's in the minutes. So, you know.
Okay.
We need to clean up.
We need some rules, I guess. We need some rules, I guess, when it comes to what we allow them to do and take out. I hate that I dislike that anybody can take out a beautiful live oak because they're scared. And the live oaks are great in the city. That's what makes Ravine Gardens. That's what makes downtown Palatka, is our beautiful live oaks. And I think we ought to try to protect them. We'll do what we can do, but we only will be able to do whatever y'all allow us to do. And what is it you said? We don't have authority, but we're
Advisory. Yes.
Okay.
Advisory. Yeah. And that's where I need your help.
And if you look at all of the cities around us, their tree ordinances that protect their trees. We used to have something called heritage trees. I don't know whether they still are or not, but it was a unusually nice specimen of a particular tree, not by size or anything, but you know, some trees can be nice specimens and only be a 4 or 6 inch diameter. But the cities around us, they protect all that stuff. And they try to promote canopy roads and things of that nature. And we don't, you know, make a hedge down the road.
But anyway, whatever we can do to help, like I said, in Hillsborough County, I was there 30 years landscaping in Hillsborough County, and they have an ordinance that they have to have a permit to trim anything under certain diameter. The grand oaks, they call them. So trees or any of that, that's what they have. I'm not trying to bring that in. I just want to protect. I just would like us to be able to protect what we have, because once a grand oak or a heritage tree that you're talking about, or once they're gone, they're gone.
They'll never be back in anybody in this room's lifetime. You
Right.
can plant that acorn, but it's gonna take a long time.
Okay. I'll get cracking.
Didn't want to hear all that, did you?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I mean, I
any-
need to know what the intent is. I need to know what the pleasure of the board is. And you may only have an advisory, and I don't minimizing that. You may have an advisory capacity, but your voice is important.
Well, you got people that love the trees here, so we'll do all what we can do to help, whatever you allow us to do. Any other staff comments? Or-
Okay,
Um,
that's it.
Just
For
one
me.
little for me, if I may. Just, I know Mr. Perez is new to our board, and so is Commissioner Jones. So just kind of filling in on maybe someone who may not know what advisory means. Advisory means that any actions made by this board must be ratified by the city commission. This board doesn't have the authority to take action in and of itself.
Correct.
And that is so that people on this board can also have other capacities in government. I know Mr. Wallace, for example, is on the city's planning board. So that's why this board needs to remain an advisory in capacity, so that other board members can have other capacities, and so that the commission can ratify whatever decisions are made. So if this committee does give recommendations such as changes to municipal code, it's not done at this level. Your recommendations would then be taken to the city commission. And of course, in order for an ordinance to be passed by the city commission, it has to have 2 public hearings. on
And go before the
commission
planning
level.
board.
And go before the planning board too. So, but at a minimum, 2 before the commission for any ordinance. And Ms. Walsh will probably take it to the planning board as well.
Right.
So just kind of a little education there on what an advisory is. I heard that term. So just wanted to kind of clarify that a little bit. Thank you.
Can we hear from the city liaison, the city commission liaison, what the city commission expects us to do or not do?
We're trying to figure it out. As we just asked you those questions, we're trying to figure it out. What capacity and how far that advisor will go. And Sonny just kind of laid it all the way out, what the steps will be. And I think we have enough experience and 30 years of experience of landscaping is plenty enough to give us guidelines of what we need here within our cities. And I hear you talking about the shade trees and things of that nature, stuff to think of. And when we're talking about development, that's what Ms. Walsh is going to be looking for and looking at as we go forward and having new development come into our city. So if it wasn't important, we wouldn't be doing it. And it's more than just a designation of Tree City, I think. I think it's because we want to do what's right by our citizens here.
Any other staff comments from anybody on the staff?
I have a question. Sunny, do we need to swear in Mr. Perez?
No, ma'am. Mr. Perez came in during last week and
That's right.
was sworn in by Ms. Fuller as a notary public.
My apologies, I forgot. Thank you.
Okay. Board member comments? Okay.
I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting. We never did, and maybe we're not going to decide today how often we're going to meet. Once a month?
I think quarterly,
Yeah.
I recommend that we meet quarterly. Therefore, the ordinance can be done, because I know the board has a lot of things on our plate right now. And then, I mean, I think that's the minutes time, being that last time you got the minutes was 3 years. So I think let's start out quarterly, and if we need to meet more frequently, we can make that decision.
Mr. Valentine, if I may, I loved the idea of educating the citizens. I think maybe just food for thought, maybe something we can bring up under board member comments, maybe at the next meeting is what educational ideas you guys would like to see. I know that the Arbor Day Foundation website has different educational opportunities on their website, and I'll be honest, I'm not super familiar with the educational opportunities out there on the website. So if any one of you would like to research educational opportunities for the citizens, that's something that we could bring back at the next meeting and look more into educating our citizens on our live oaks and other heritage trees in the area.
Do we have a full committee now? Or are we gonna be more members? I think we used to have 7.
Per the city's code, and I know you guys can't really read it because it's super small up there, but it says that there's 6 citizens to serve on this board with 1 commissioner, which Ms. Thomas gave a legal opinion. He's the liaison. Currently at this time, I'm pending the application of the forester, and Mr. Roger Sandos has been unresponsive to me. So minus,
That's the state forester, right?
no, Mr. Sandos is a citizen member.
Is what?
A citizen member.
Hmm.
So Ms. Thomas's opinion, and forgive me if I'm speaking for you, Ms. Thomas, I know you're quietly up there on the Zoom. Ms. Thomas told me that if he doesn't respond, he's not on the board because I've sent letters, I've emailed, I've called, and he's not been responsive. So that position will become vacant if he doesn't respond in a timely manner.
So we'll still need 2 if he doesn't respond.
And if the forester doesn't give an application.
Say what?
And if the forester doesn't submit an application, but I anticipate that he will.
Yeah.
So
We've
depends on if you
always
count
had
him.
the state forester on the committee.
yeah, and I can't, obviously I can't speak for the mayor, but I told him that I did reach out to the current forester for an application, and he seemed that he would, he gave me the impression that he would be willing to recommend to the commission to appoint the new forester.
On this meeting, quarterly meeting, if we want to have it quarterly, I propose we have the next meeting April 4th, Monday at 4 o'clock. That's the second quarter. If this wants to count for this, the first quarter, this meeting. It'll be the second quarter will be April the 4th at 4. Any motions? For
What day
second?
is that?
Yeah,
Tuesday?
so moved.
No, that's Monday. We remember we used to
Monday.
have on Monday, April 4th on a Monday, 4 o'clock. Schedule our next tree committee meeting. Any seconds?
Second. Who made the motion? Me or Carolyn? Did you make the motion? If she made it, I second it.
Okay,
And
so
vice versa, that's good too, because.
all for this meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Motion approved.
All right.
Okay. We've had a motion to adjourn. Second,
Second.
so moved.
This is, we're adjourned now, right? This
Let
is-
me turn it off. Thank you, everyone.
This is very much more formal than we used.
Thank you.